Live from the Astrodome in Houston, Fox Sports presents Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Central Division champs take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Worrell, along with Bill Brown. Good to have you with us as the Astros begin a 10-game homestand, and they begin it tonight with the big unit in the big house. And it's sold out, Bill. There's tons of excitement here tonight, and Billy Wagner coming back also, so the fans really have something to get excited about.
It's one of those special events. We don't see too many of those in the course of a normal regular baseball season, Bill. This is one night everybody wants to be here.
Could be the largest crowd ever to watch the Astros play baseball, and they'll watch what on paper appears to be a mismatch.
It certainly does, and that's when you sometimes find problems in baseball games. Seems to be a slam dunk for big 6'10" Randy Johnson against Mike Welch, who's made only one major league start. Gave up 3 consecutive home runs to the Giants in that start. But the Philadelphia Phillies have some ideas in their heads, and we'll see if they can make them come to fruition tonight, Bill.
So the Astros will be taking on the Phillies. Manager Larry Dierker knows all about this excitement. He was the center of attention years ago as a young Astro hurler, and tonight he'll watch the big unit take on the Phillies next on Fox Sports Southwest. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to the jam-packed Astrodome for Major League Baseball tonight as the Houston Astros take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Could be the largest crowd ever to watch an Astros game here under the big top. And let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Phillies, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They'll lead it off with Doug Glanville, Greg Jeffries, Scott Rowland, Kevin Jordan, Mark Lewis, Bobby Estrella, Kevin Sefcik, Desi Rutherford, and Mike Welch, the pitcher, will be hitting ninth. On the mound, the big unit, Randy Johnson, making his first appearance ever in the Astrodome. He made his Houston debut, defeating Pittsburgh 6-2 last Sunday, and he leads the majors with 225 strikeouts. The defense behind him will be Spires, Gutierrez, Biggio, and Bagwell around the infield. In the outfield, Alou, Hidalgo, and Bell. And catching the big unit tonight will be Tony Eusebio. Here to call the play-by-play is Bill Brown.
Thanks very much, Bill, and it's Doug Glanville leading it off. Taking strike one, and the roar goes up as Randy Johnson has thrown his first pitch as an Astro in the Astrodome. Glanville's having a very good year for the Phillies. He's right on that fastball, and it's 0-2. Glanville's 5th in the league in runs scored with 85. He's facing a man who struck out a dozen in 7 innings against the Pirates on Sunday. And he puts this one out of play. Still no balls and 2 strikes to Glanville, who has a .352 on base average. He is second in the league in hits with 149. And he's played in all but 1 game with a .310 average overall, 7 homers, and 40 runs batted in. 1 ball and 2 strikes as Randy Johnson pitches before a very big house. He's done this before many times in Seattle. Breaking ball way outside makes it 2-2. Glanville, really a good table setter, and he's been a very pleasant development for their club, coming over from the Chicago Cubs in a trade. Struck him out. How about that for some Texas heat, Bill Worrell?
Oh, boy. A left-handed Nolan Ryan, if you will. That's what they paid their money to see. Oh, he quit messing around. He came right after him.
Switch hitting Greg Jeffries, part of an outstanding outfield for the Phillies, comes up next and pulls one off the glove of Spires. He will not have a play. Jeffries getting on an infield hit. Spires with a diving effort, got leather on it, but Jeffries reaches with a 1-out single.
Well, Bill, he hasn't thrown anything but fastballs here in his first 7 pitches of the game, and he threw another one to lead off Jeffries. Jeffries, a very accomplished hitter, a veteran, was trying to get the bat started, and he got around on it.
Scott Rowland, last year's unanimous Rookie of the Year in the National League, is having a fine sophomore season. He's really the leader of this Philadelphia club. There's strike one to Rowland. .294 his average, 23 homers and 79 runs batted in. Rowland is in the top 10 of the National League in extra base hits. 23 years old. to Roland, who last year hit 21 long balls, driving in 92. Phillies get their first look at Randy Johnson. Astros will be going to Philadelphia on their three-city road trip after this long homestand. Roland's had it going well lately. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The crowd really into every pitch tonight, Bill.
They really are, Bill. And the man on the spot is Bruce Dreckman. He's a young umpire behind the plate. This is a veteran umpiring crew, but Dreckman draws Johnson tonight.
It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Roland's a .348 career hitter against Houston. Last year, Roland hit in all 11 games he played against the Astros and hit 4 home runs against Houston pitching, all of those in Philadelphia. It's 3-2 to Roland with Jeffries on first. Roland does strike out a lot, 104 times this year. Jeffries has 10 steals in a dozen tries. Time called as Johnson was ready to deliver.
I imagine we'll see that as the game goes on. Randy likes to get the ball and throw it in a hurry. He only throws a fastball, 2-seam fastball, and a slider. He hasn't thrown his slider yet. So he'll get it and throw it, and I'm sure they'll step out to try to break up his rhythm.
Runner goes, and it's foul back. So despite the high strikeout numbers for Roland, Jeffries was on his way. And Eusebio's had an outstanding year in throwing out base runners. On the other hand, the Phillies might feel they wouldn't get too many chances on a normal evening against Randy Johnson. So they might think that they have to force the action a little bit offensively tonight. Runner goes again, and he struck him out. The throw to Biggio. They've got a run down. Jeffries is hurt. He's tagged out by Biggio, and that's a double play as Jeffries hobbles between first and second. No runs a hit. 2 strikeouts. The Cards are up, and it's 0-0.
Got what they wanted, a couple of strikeouts in the top of the first. The Astros coming to the plate. Let's take a look at Larry Dierker's lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. As usual, Craig Biggio leading it off. Then it's Bill Spires, Derek Bell, Jeff Bagwell, Alou, Hidalgo, Eusebio, Gutierrez, and Randy Johnson, the pitcher, will be hitting ninth. On the mound, making his first major league start, is young Mike Welch. Or that was his first major league start, his last outing. This will be his second, as he lost a game to San Francisco. The defense behind him will be Roland, Relaford, Lewis, and Jordan. Around the horn in the outfield, Jeffries, Glanville, Sefcik, and Estelea, the catcher, will be catching young Mike Welch, who has primarily come out of the bullpen in his minor and major league career.
Craig Biggio gets it going for Houston. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. His consecutive game streak ended Wednesday. There's strike 1 from Welch. Biggio had played in 494 games in a row. Larry Dierker was trying to get him in as a pinch hitter, but the last out was made with Biggio on deck. At .318, he has 12 homers and 60 runs batted in as he starts a brand new streak, and he's been a .350 hitter here in the Astrodome this year. Mike Welch, 25 years old. He throws a strike, and that makes it 0-2 on Biggio. Welch gave up 3 consecutive home runs to the San Francisco Giants in his last start. He gave up 8 hits and 8 runs in 3 innings. Ellis Burks, Barry Bonds, and Jeff Kent all took him deep in the second inning. Breaking pitch is a ball to Biggio, and it's 1-2. The Astros are 2-1 against the Phillies. That series was played at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia back in May. And the Astros have a return trip coming up to Philadelphia on their next road trip. This is the only series here in the Astrodome between these 2 clubs this year. Phillies were 3-2 here last year. Biggio almost got hit on the leg, Bill.
I think he was trying to. he stuck that knee out. I think he was trying to get that inside pitch and get on first base.
In home games, Larry Walker's hitting .387, but Biggio ranks not all that far behind him. And what a tougher home park this is. Glove by Welch. He gets Biggio for out number 1. Welch has just been with the big league club about a month. He was recalled from AAA Scranton on the 9th of July. He was 2-4 there with a 5.71 ERA. Not good numbers, but the Phillies promoted him to work out of the bullpen, and now he's taking the rotation spot of the injured Tyler Green.
Yeah, Green on the injured list. Came over to the Phillies from the Mets in an off-season deal, a minor league deal, and This youngster used to be out of the bullpen as a closer in the minor leagues with a fastball slider, but as he has started some games, he's started trying to throw the curveball, and quite effectively at times.
Faces Bill Spires. There's ball one. Spires, with a .272 average, has 2 home runs and 35 runs batted in. He had a good road trip at .316. The Astros were 4-2 on the road trip to Pittsburgh and Florida. Tap to the right of the second baseman and into center field past Mark Lewis. Spires is on with a 1-out single. By the way, Greg Jeffrey stayed in the game, and he's still in left field despite coming up on that stolen base attempt, hobbling.
I don't know whether he pulled a muscle or he twisted an ankle or what. And he looks like he's still trying to walk it off, doesn't he?
Could have been a cramp, Bill.
Yeah, could have been.
Jeffrey stayed in after the trainer and manager Terry Francona went out. Derek Bell on a 5-game hitting streak follows Spires to the plate. .327 his average. He has 16 homers and 81 driven in. He too, like Biggio, as you saw in that graphic earlier, is a .350 hitter here in the Astrodome this season. That's ball one to Bell. Bell is 4th in the league in hits. He has 146 of them. During that 5-game hitting streak, he's 6 for 17. That works out to .353. Yesterday was the only off day for the Astros in a 41-day span. They begin a stretch of 20 consecutive games again tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Houston has won 7 of the last 10 games. 4.5-game lead on the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are in St. Louis. It's a big battle there this weekend. Expecting sellout crowds for that matchup between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. They're not yet underway. Welch made 3 starts with Scranton. He was 1-0 with a .265 ERA in those 3 starts. Nice stop there by Estalella. Estalella got a chance to become the everyday catcher due to an injury to Mike Lieberthal. And Lieberthal has a very difficult injury to deal with. All he can do is rest right now. An injury to the pelvis area. A lot of the wear and tear of catching over the week. So it's Estalella's job, it would appear, for several weeks. Astros may be testing him as far as their running game goes as the night progresses. He's thrown out 2 of 11. Bell takes the heater upstairs. It's 3-1 to Derek. There's been a real buzz around Houston about this game for days. Folks lined up outside the ticket office before the game to snap up the final few thousand seats and make this a sellout tonight. The opener of a 10-game homestand. Milwaukee coming in, and then the Cubs. The runner goes. Strike is the call to throw in the dirt. Good tag, but Spires got in underneath the tag for Mark Lewis to steal his 8th of the year.
Billy had a pretty good break on Mike Welch, and when the ball came in, Lewis had to get it on that first hop, and when he did, Spires gets right under the glove. This is a great bang-bang look at it right there.
Very close call.
Yeah, see, the glove comes up to catch it, and when he did that, he was able to slide under.
Yeah, if that throw had been on the fly, it looked like Spires would have been out. 3-2 the count now on Bell. That's ball 4. Runners are at first and second with 1 out for Jeff Bagwell. Terry Francona's club vastly improved since the midpoint of last season. Currently 1 game under 500 at 56 and 57. Chuck Cottier, one of his coaches, alongside. Phillies just snapped a 7-game losing streak yesterday. They won in extra innings in San Diego. And for his second major league season, still has a record well under 500. But what a turnaround he brought about with the Phillies last year, Bill.
They're a good late inning team, too. They're #1 in comeback wins this year. And, in fact, they were right in the middle of the wild card chase, Bill, until this week. And they had a couple of bad series, and now they're trying to bounce back. They're in the middle of a long road trip, and it hasn't been a good one so far.
Jeff Bagwell bats next. Curve is strike 1 to Bagwell. He's on a 6-game hitting streak, and his batting average has climbed to .272 with 23 homers and 72 runs batted in for Jeff the Phillies were one of the best teams in the National League in the second half of the year last year. They're currently 7 games out in the wild card race behind the Cubs. Bagwell looks at a strike. That makes it 0-2. Bruce Dreckman giving the high strike call to Mike Welch.
Well, the big unit might like that high strike call. They say that's a good call over in the American League. He says so far he hasn't noticed a difference in the strike zones, but he's barely into his second game over here.
Mike Welch, born in Haverhill, Massachusetts, went to the University of Southern Maine. Good sinker, and he struck out Bagwell. Boy, after the high heater earlier, he brought that one down and in with good movement for the second out, Bill.
Well, you noticed Estalella set up inside, and Welch went right to the target. This is an effective job of pitching. You really got Bagwell jammed inside on his hands. Look at him trying to get that bat extended. Yeah, right in on that corner.
That is such an effective pitch. Quite often it turns out to be a double play ball. Moises Alou, with his batting average now at .297, has 28 homers and 95 runs batted in. He's in the top 10 in the league in both home runs and RBIs. He's driven in 18 in his last 20 games. Alou said he didn't have a very good series against the Florida Marlins. That was his return there after helping them to a world championship. Had a lot of family and friends there, and admitted that he might have put a little too much pressure on himself to perform well. As a result, he hit only 120 on the road trip, 3 hits and 25 at-bats. But he was giving the Astros a lift with a 2-out hit with men on base so many times this year. 2 balls and no strikes to Moises, who's in the top 10 in slugging and total bases.
Looks like Welch is using his fastball to set up his other pitches. He's trying not to throw it for a strike, but he wants to show it to them. He can come back with that curveball and that sinker on the inside part of the plate. So he just showed it to Alou. Let's see what he comes back with here.
Fastball clocked at 89, curveball at 79 in the inside game here. It's 3-0 to Alou. Mike Welch was a 3rd-round pick in '93 by the Mets. Last year at AAA Norfolk, he saved 20 games, walked only 16 in 51 innings. Saved 27 at AA Binghamton in '96. Runner takes off for 3rd, and no throw made on a double steal.
Man, Welch never looked back.
That was ball 4 as it turned out.
Well,
but Spires a flying lead there.
Spires took off, Bill, and I think he was shocked. He started, look at him, watch right here. He says, man, this guy's not even going to look at me, so I'm taking off.
Oh, everybody moves up on the second walk.
Maybe Welch didn't look at him because he was intending on walking Alou anyway.
Maybe so. He got the 3-0 on him. Now he faces Richard Hidalgo. Hidalgo at .272 has 2 homers and 15 RBIs. Carl Everett still with a little tightness in his leg. Fly to center field. Glanville waiting. And Welch matches the 0 posted by Randy Johnson. In a little different fashion, the Astros leave the bases loaded. It's 0-0. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By Discover Card, it pays to discover, accepted where you see the Novus sign. By Hoover, nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. By the Associates, call the Associates at 1-888-A-LOAN for you for home equity loan information. By Southwestern Bell, your friendly neighborhood global communications company. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You either have it in you or you don't. Life's a sport. Drink it up. 0-0 game. Kevin Jordan has just hit a fly ball to center field on a 1-0 pitch for the first out in the top of the second inning. Randy Johnson allowed a hit to Greg Jeffries in the first. Now he faces Mark Lewis. Lewis takes. There's the slider for strike 1 to Lewis. Lewis having an off year, .255, 9 homers and 45 runs batted in. Ball one makes it 1-1 to Mark, has always hit well against the Astros. .357 in his career against Houston. 28-year-old everyday player now at second base. Fouls it back to make it 1-2. Lewis played for the Giants last year, winding up with a .267 batting average. He opened this season hoping to really post big numbers, but that has not happened for him. Had a couple of hits in the series in Philadelphia against Houston. And he's over the top of the slider for a strikeout. That's number 3 already for Randy.
Here's tonight's Domino Watch, Eat, and Win number. Match it with 1 on your Domino's Pizza box topper and claim a Fox Sports Southwest prize pack and maybe win sweet tickets to an upcoming game. For another chance to win, order Domino's Pizza and keep watching the Rangers and Astros on Fox Sports Southwest. Here's a list of Domino's Watch, Eat, and Win winning numbers announced in previous games.
Biggio to his right on the ground ball by Escalera, and that's a 1-2-3 second, nothing.
Welcome back to the Astrodome. No score in this game. There's a lot of action going on around the league. Kevin, let's have a highlight.
All right, Bill, our Southwestern Bell around the league takes us to Busch Stadium. Mark Grace at the plate. The RBI single. Fernando Tatis can't come up with this one. Morandini scores. Cubs would put 2 more across on a Mark McGwire 2-run error after a half inning. They lead 3-0. Bill Worrell, Bill Brown, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. Glad to have you with us here on a very special night in the Astrodome, where it's 0-0 as Mike Welch goes to work in the bottom of the second inning. Tony Eusebio's the batter. Gutierrez and Johnson to follow. To shallow right field near the line. Sepsic over. There's 1 out for Mike Welch. If you can imagine being in his shoes, Bill, it's probably almost a can't-lose situation. He is expected to lose this ball game, but if he pitches well, whether he wins or loses, he'll gain some stature with his manager.
Probably have to go back to that big game when they put the Christians in with the Lions, huh? That's got to be the way you feel. A real mismatch all over the country. Everybody saying who they're going to throw against Randy Johnson tonight. And right now he's off to a good start.
He really is. Ricky Gutierrez is next.
Bill, you know, too, the Astros don't react well to young pitchers they face for the first time. It has been a problem with this team. Not just this year, but over the last couple of seasons.
It's been a real pattern with this club.
In fact, Van Poppel had a big game against him in Randy's debut.
Yeah, Randy had to get a come from behind 8th inning rally to get that win. Gutierrez has 2 homers, 32 runs batted in with a .271 average. Almost hit by that pitch. 2-1 with Randy Johnson on deck. A strike to make it 2-2. The Phillies last year in the second half went 44-33. That was the 3rd best record in the National League after the All-Star break. They wound up 68-94, but that really rescued their season. Lewis in, and they have responded very well to the reins as they're held by Terry Francona. He's a popular manager. In fact, the Phillies being in contention, as you mentioned, for that wild card spot. This is way ahead of schedule. They shopped some veteran players for a deadline deal, but it didn't happen because they held out for top prospects, and those were not offered in return. Randy Johnson.
Well, I thought with interleague play he may have taken batting practice this year, so I asked him before the game. He said nope.
He didn't take BP, but he got a hit in a game in interleague play. And he says this is one aspect of the game he's really going to have to work on, hitting. 0-2 to Randy. He is 1 for 10 overall, as you saw this season, American League and National.
It looks like a twig in his hands.
Doesn't it, though? And he's down quickly. So Mike Welch has struck out 2, 1 fewer than Randy Johnson, and it's 0-0 after 2. 0-0 game. Here's the 3rd inning, and the Phillies lead it off with Sepsic, the right fielder. Phillies got an infield hit by Jeffries in the 2nd inning. Randy Johnson gets ahead of Sepsic. There's strike 1. He's hit .450 for his last 11 ball games, .289 for the season for Kevin with 1 homer and 10 runs batted in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Generally, he plays only against lefties. 27-year-old outfielder who last year had 119 at-bats. He's a converted infielder. 2-1. Bob Abreu, who's having a fine season, the former Astro outfielder, is on the bench because it's Randy Johnson pitching. So is Rico Bronya, the left-handed hitting first baseman. That's out into left center by Sevcik, and it goes by Hidalgo and to the wall. Extra bases. Sevcik checks in with a leadoff double. That's his 4th 2-bagger of the year. And the Phillies get started here in the 3rd.
Did a good job of waiting on that pitch that he got from Randy Johnson. The point you're making about the left-handers, there it is right down the middle, and he got a good cut on it. You know, Randy's like anybody else. If you throw it in the middle in to right-handed hitters, you are hittable all of a sudden. So he's got to work to his spot.
Gave up a home run in the game against the Pirates. Now a long drive by Desi Relaford goes foul.
Boy, did you see Relaford cheat then? He was thinking fastball, and he was opening up and really trying to hit that ball out of here. Watch this. See, he's getting an early start. He's opened those hips, and he's really cheating on Johnson. And they might ought to throw him an off-speed pitch or two.
Relaford, a former Seattle farmhand. He did not make it to the big leagues while Randy Johnson was a Mariner. 1 ball and 1 strike. He had been drafted in the 4th round by Seattle in '91. Phillies got him in a trade in '96. He's hitting .269, 4 homers, 28 runs batted in. Broken bat looper, Biggio out. Randy Johnson got inside for out number 1.
Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By the Sourdough Jack from Jack in the Box. 4 million antenna balls can't be wrong. And by the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Nothing game. Kevin Sevcik at second, 1 out. Mike Welch, the pitcher, is the batter. Welch throws right, but bats left. That makes him the only left-handed hitter in the lineup tonight.
Well, they suggested to him that since no one knew who he was, he probably ought to go up there right-handed.
He's the first left-handed batter Randy Johnson has faced as an Astro.
Bill, that's an interesting point you made, though, about 2 of their better hitters are Bronya and Abreu. So by pitching Johnson, you automatically make them take 2 of their best players out of the game. And that happened in Pittsburgh, too, because I think they took their leadoff hitter out, didn't they? The Pirates.
Yeah, that can have a real effect on the opposing manager, and it does with a Randy Johnson on the mound because he's so dominant. And there's strike 3, and it's the 4th of the game.
Another thing, too, Johnson can give up a leadoff double as he did to Sevcik, and then come back and get out of it. You know, Nolan Ryan, J.R. Richard, they were all like that. When you're a strikeout pitcher, those leadoff hits really don't hurt you as much as they might somebody else because you come right back and get a strikeout.
Tony Womack, that leadoff hitter for the Pirates, did not start that game. You're right. Doug Glanville next. He struck out. Strike 1 to Glanville. Glanville, a very intelligent player, a first-round pick by the Cubs in '91. Went to the University of Pennsylvania. He grew up in the Philadelphia area from Hackensack, New Jersey. Johnson moves him back. It's 1-1. Last year, Glanville had a lot of playing time for the Cubs and hit .300. 4 homers and 35 runs batted in. He's had several nice long hitting streaks this year.
That pitch was 97 that he threw to him the pitch prior to that when he came inside on him, and that was the purpose pitch and set up that fastball down and out.
Glanville, one of those leadoff men who does not walk much. 31 walks for the year, on a pace for 214 hits. Fly ball left, hit pretty well. Alou back, and 370 feet away, it's out number 3. No runs a hit, a runner stranded after the leadoff double. Sevcik never moves. Randy Johnson has a 0-0 game going.
No score here in the Dome as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Let's take a look at the Dodge standings. And in the National League Central, Houston up on Chicago, and Chicago playing in St. Louis tonight. That game is tied now. So there's the Central Division, and in the East, Philadelphia was in that wild card hunt until this past week, and they need to string some wins together to get back in it.
Greg Biggio gets it going in the home third inning. It's 0-0. Biggio tapped back to the pitcher in the first, showing that he takes a curveball, and it's strike one. In that Chicago-St. Louis game, it's 3-3 bottom of the first inning. Cardinals are still batting. Mark McGwire just knocked in 2 with a single. He had allowed 2 on a 2-run error in the top half of the inning. No home run by Sosa or McGwire so far. Biggio out over shortstop. Relaford points it out, and the center fielder Glanville makes the play. Mike Welch has his first out in the third inning. Phillies starting pitchers have 33 wins and 41 losses. Kurt Schilling, of course, is their staff ace. He won't be working in this series. Mark Portugal won't pitch either. Carlton Lower goes tomorrow night against Jose Lima. Matt Beach from the University of Houston pitches Sunday against Shane Reynolds.
Welch pitched only 3 innings against the Giants, gave up 8 hits and 8 runs. But he's kept the Astros off balance. They're taking the strikes and swinging at the ball.
They are.
And that's certainly helping the youngster out.
Bill Spires singled up the middle. That's strike 1 to him. And he stole second. But he was stranded at third as the bases were loaded on a Hidalgo fly ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Phillies, as you mentioned, Bill, have been a very good come-from-behind team. They've showed good character this year. 4 of their last 5 wins have come in the last at-bat.
You've got to remember, too, that Bronya and Abreu in the starting lineup. Terry Francona has them sitting on the bench in case he'll need them in a close game later. So 2 very good hitters to think about. So you'd like to get a lead here in the middle innings.
Billy Wagner's back, and that could be a factor for Houston later on tonight. Spires moves back from ball 3. It's 3-1 to Bill with Derek Bell on deck.
Yeah, but that's very effective, Bill. I think Welch has to pitch inside. You have to pitch inside to beat the Astros, and that's what it looks like his game plan is here early, and he's doing it effectively.
That makes it 3-2 now. Fernando Tatis drove in that third run for St. Louis after a 2-run single by McGwire. Now they've scored 5 in the first, and St. Louis is still batting with a 5-3 lead over the Cubs. A freewheeling game there. That should be a great offensive series for the fans of St. Louis to watch. Spires shoots one by Relaford into left center. Glanville hustling over, and Bill's going to second. And the throw is on a hop. It's not in time. He stretches it to a double. Glanville had to move a lot to his right, and Spires never hesitated with that decision, Bill.
Oh, what a great job of hitting and running, and Billy Spires getting a good look at Welch now. He hit it right on the nose, and he knows Glanville has to go away from the throw, and that was the key to that play. Look at the belly flop there, a la Pete Rose.
As you can see, that throw made it pretty close, but Spires could not have possibly reached it any faster to second.
Derek Bell has been hot recently. Let's check his numbers on the B.F. Goodrich in the groove board.
Runner second, 1 out for Bell. He walked on a 3-2 count in the first. Now he looks at ball 1.
Well, let's see now how the Astros react the second time through on this youngster, Mike Welch. Biggio popped up. Spires got his second hit of the game. Let's see now if they've been able to get a beat on him.
If they can score, then the crowd gets into it, and it gets much tougher for Mike Welch. 2 balls and no strikes. Jose Lima tomorrow night against Carlton Lower.
That's interested to see. Jose got his award tonight as pitcher of the week in the National League, and that was good to see. He's been very consistent, hasn't he?
Sure has, and he's won 10 games now. He's coming off back-to-back complete games, and that last one, a 2-1 beauty over the Pirates. 2-0 to Bell. We're back on the air with that Sunday matchup. 13-game winner Shane Reynolds against Matt Beach, who would love to Sunday, and Shane is all eyes right now. Next to Sean Bergman there on the bench. Pete Sherrick traded to Boston for cash yesterday to get Billy Wagner on the roster tonight. 3-0.
Well, this is what happens sometimes to young pitchers. If you start to hit them, and Spires has hit him hard a couple of times, he'll start to try to nibble a little bit, and youngsters have trouble nibbling for strikes.
In his last start, he gave up 5 runs in the second inning, and they came with 2 outs. Bell looks at a strike. It's 3-1. The Phillies staff next to last in the National League in surrendering long balls. They've given up 139 home runs this year. Bell has really done a number in these situations this year, Bill.
Yeah, he has. He's done a good job of working deep into counts where he gets better pitches to hit. He was a little too impatient last season. This year he's shown good patience at the plate. Coming outside again.
Bell lays off, and that's another walk for him. 2 tonight. He's having a patient evening. 2 men on for Jeff Bagwell now.
Well, Derek's doing what he should do. He's setting the table for the big guns, and that's Bagwell and Alou. And I think the last time Jeff was up, that was as good a job of pitching to Jeff Bagwell as I've seen all season. Welch really worked him good. Let's see if he can do it again. The trouble with trying to come inside to Jeff the second time is you better be sure you get it in there, because he's got that quick bat. He'll turn off.
Up with 2 on, and he struck out on 3 pitches back in the first inning. The last one a nice sinker down and in. We'll see if Welch and Escalera try to change that pattern here. That's ball 1 on a pretty close one to Bagwell. The Astros have not had a losing homestand all season. They're 34-18 here in their home ballpark. This club responding well, and with a lot more home games remaining than road now.
Good change.
It was 1-1 to Bagwell.
And it was a great location. If you're going to throw a changeup, he had it on the outside part of the plate, and it finished up down below the knees. Look at this location. Boy, that's perfect.
Welch, perhaps with the opportunity of a lifetime so far for him. Bagwell watches the curve go outside. 2-1 to Jeff. He's hit .287 with men in scoring position, but much better than that for the last 2 months. It's a 3-0 lead. Number 24 of the year ignites the crowd.
Well, Bill, there are just so many off-speed pitches and curveballs you can throw. And remember what I said, if you're going to come back with that pitch you threw him before, you better get it down, and he didn't do it. Right up in the wheelhouse. And Bagwell was set for it. Home run number 24, and his 73, 74, and 75th RBI.
Bagwell unloads. Now it's Moises Alou fouling it back. Strike 1 to Alou, who walked on 4 pitches in the first inning. Go back to Bell, who walked twice ahead of Bagwell. That sets it up, and walks have been so important to the Astros' attack this year.
That's a good point, Bill, because Derek Bell really was very patient. He could have swung at one of those close pitches, but he set the table, and that's so important. This lineup, and when you get Everett back in there, too, this lineup from top to bottom is explosive.
The Astros have hit 114 long balls this year. Bagwell with 24 of those.
Philadelphia's given up, what,
15th in the league in ERA. Giving up these big, long hits with men on base at just the wrong time, many times this year in their game. Alou hits it off his leg, and it's 2-2 to Moises.
Look at the Cardinals.
They scored 8 times in the first inning, and they're still batting, leading the Cubs 8-3 in the bottom of the first. Well, the Astros will be meeting the Cubs here next weekend. And should they get some help from St. Louis, that would be welcomed on that bench. They'd like to put a lot more room between themselves and the Cubs in their 4.5 games right now.
Well, it ought to be fun for the Houston fans because they got Milwaukee. It still feels like they have a chance, one last chance to get in it, as well as the Cubs coming in.
Base hit to center by Alou. He's on for the second time, and the big rally continues here in the third inning with Hidalgo next.
Again, another fastball, and it was up. When you lead off, you know, when you're nibbling around with curveballs and sinkers, you still have to throw strikes. When you don't, you get it up in the strike zone. These are some dangerous guys, and now Galen Cisco will make the long walk out there.
Galen, the former Ohio State quarterback, talking it over with Escalera and Welch.
Heck of an athlete. And I remember he had some good years with the Mets, too, coming out of that bullpen. He had a great curveball.
At this point, the Phillies, of course, want to figure out what the keys are for Welch so that he can execute and stay in this ball game for a while. They did not have a day off yesterday, as the Astros did, and they don't want to have to go to their bullpen in the third inning of this game. They are on a wacky road trip. They came from San Diego. After this 3-game series, they'll head back to Arizona and then Denver.
Who made that travel schedule?
Not the Philadelphia Phillies, that's for sure. Hidalgo flied to center with the bases loaded to end the first inning. Former teammate of Bob Abreu, of course. There's ball one. Abreu has elicited rave reviews with the Phillies media all season for the way he's played. Hidalgo, meanwhile, has been hurt. He's missed almost 2 months for the Astros. But both should be outstanding young outfielders for the next several years in the National League. Venezuela, 2 balls, no strikes to Hidalgo.
The Astros have gotten a lot of mileage out of Venezuela and that academy they have down there. They got a jump on all the other major league teams, and of course the academy enabled them to make the big trade to get Randy Johnson, because Freddie Garcia was part of that.
Yes, and Carlos Guillen.
So
we're both from that academy in Venezuela. It's 3-0 to Hidalgo.
I guess the Astros had to make a choice. Abreu and Hidalgo came up about the same time. I think they felt there was more upside with Hidalgo in the long run than Abreu, although Abreu's having a heck of a year.
He really is. Hidalgo a center fielder, and that's significant. Abreu can't play center as well as Hidalgo.
There really wasn't any place for Bobby to play here.
No. Especially not with Moises Alou, and Carl Everett, and Derek Bell. Abreu's a left-handed hitter, very good speed. Really are different in many ways. 3-1. There goes. That's a strike call and a throw in the dirt, but it's safe at second. Looked like they get the out call as the throw from Escalera was picked out of the dirt by Mark Lewis. And it appeared he put the tag on, but Alou gets his night steal.
Well, he got a pretty good jump. You see him look behind him and watch the throw again. See, that he had to move his glove again. Lewis, same time as last time, he has to go low, and then he has to tag him on the rear end, and I think the umpire felt like he'd already touched it with his hand.
Absolutely. When the tag is that low, the guy goes in head first. He gets a call usually. 3-2 now. Hidalgo looks at strike 3. 2 outs. Tony Eusebio bats next.
This is a good pitch. Again, Welch coming down low.
Mike Welch trailing 3-0. Tries to get Eusebio and limit the damage here after the Bagwell homer. Eusebio flied to right in the second. Strike one to Tony, who was the catcher Wednesday afternoon in Florida with Mike Hampton on the mound. Back-to-back starts around an off day for Tony Eusebio. Brad Ausmus caught Randy Johnson Sunday in Pittsburgh.
I think Larry wants Tony now to catch Randy so that both catchers will catch him. You never know what the playoffs will offer down the stretch. You don't want anybody catching Randy for the first time in a really big game later. So both catchers getting a chance here early.
Eusebio moves back 2-1. Tony hitting very well this season, and certainly Brad's having a good year too, but the pattern has changed. For a long time there, it was Eusebio catching Shane Reynolds. And lately Brad Ausmus has been catching Shane, while Tony has caught some other pitchers in the staff. Now back 2-2 to Tony Eusebio, and a big night for baseball in Houston. The Astros are averaging 26,878 for their home games this year. This crowd will be upwards of 50, they tell us. And certainly next weekend, the advance sale is nice, too, for the Chicago Cubs series. Eusebio up the right field line, fouls it.
Oh, boy. Welch got away with one there. If you noticed, Estalella had set up inside. You want to try to keep the ball in on the hands of Tony Eusebio because he hits it so well to right field. But watch where the location is. See? Way out on the outside part of the plate, and Tony almost hit it into that corner. A lot of pitches for Welch in this inning. He had 30 in the first two innings. He's thrown 33 here in the third.
Eusebio bounces that foul. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Welch, because he hasn't made that many starts this year, might not be asked to go that many innings with this high a pitch count in this frame, Bill.
Yep. Making him throw a lot of pitches.
Phillies were 1 game over 500 at the All-Star break. At one point in mid-July, they moved into second place briefly ahead of the Mets after beating the Mets. Eusebio hits another foul ball, staying alive at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's see how often he hits the ball to right field.
Well, that's a little bit of an upset that he's got 7 to left field. I wouldn't even predicted that many.
No.
But he gets pitched inside so much because of that ratio that he can turn on it occasionally and pull it.
There's a beach ball on the field, so Doug Glanville will go for that while there's a delay in the game. Well, the left fielder is usually stationed well over to left center, and that is the case right now with Greg Jeffries. You can see where he is as the beach ball goes over the wall from Doug Glanville. Bangs that one off his foot, and he's still in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes, but it hurts a little bit more.
Catcher expects to get hit behind the plate, but not when he's hitting. Ooh. Don't have any padding down there.
No, that's the back foot. Well, Eusebio has hit a few balls to left center in recent weeks. But normally, the way he sets up, the ball's going to go to right and right center field, and Glanville is stationed well over to right center now. That one hits Tony on the left elbow. Well, Welch trying to crowd him, and he crowded him a little too much. Yeah. So he got a foul ball off the foot and a pitch ball off his elbow, Bill.
That was not a good at bat for Tony Eusebio. Of course, you'll remember when he tried to come inside last time and he missed so badly, Eusebio got good wood on it. This time he wanted to really come inside, and that's what happens. You let it go a little too soon. Ball sailed on it.
second-hit batsman with the Phillies with Mike Welch, and now it's Ricky Gutierrez. Gutierrez grounded to second in the second inning. Randy Johnson's on deck. Gutierrez, the 8th man to bat for Houston here in the 3rd. That's strike 1 from Welch. Cincinnati leads Milwaukee 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Pete Harnish has a shutout going. Gutierrez started the bat, and then the curveball broke low, and he took ball 1. Jeff Juden was traded, we understand, to the Anaheim Angels today. Milwaukee. Thought we might see him next week here. Arizona leads Montreal 4-1 in the 7th. Ryan Anderson on the hill. Gutierrez rips one to left. Alou will score. Eusebio coming to 3rd. It's an RBI double for Gutierrez. And the Astros lead grows to 4-0 on his 17th double.
Well, there's a pitch again up in the strike zone just enough. Gutierrez able to get around on it with Eusebio running, and of course he just hit himself on the foot. That doesn't affect his speed all that much. But had it been anybody but Tony, that probably would have scored 2 runs.
He's at 3rd ahead of Ricky, who got his 33rd RBI. Randy Johnson was struck out in the 2nd. Strike 1 call. A disagreement from the fans behind home plate on the call by Bruce Dreckman.
Well, Randy's not going to argue because he'd love that call later. Can you imagine Johnson with that wide of a strike zone?
That is one huge strike zone for Mike Welch. Glove by Rowland. And he gets the big unit, but in the 3rd inning, the Astros bat around. They get 4 with 4 hits and 2 men left. Milo Hamilton's going to Bill in just a moment with the crowd on his feet. The Astros lead 4-0.
In the 3rd inning to take a 4-0 lead over the Phillies. The next Coke Value night is Wednesday night when Randy Johnson makes his 2nd home start, and he'll pitch against the Brewers. That's at 7:05. You can purchase 4 load seats, 4 hot dogs, 4 Cokes, and 2 Astro hats, all for just $40. Tickets are available on the day of the game only at the Astrodome box office. And whenever Randy Johnson pitches, you better get up to that ticket window in a hurry if you don't already have them. And here to take us through the middle innings, Milo Hamilton.
Bill Worrell, good to see you again. And the big unit fires, and it's a ball. Jeffries has one of the 2 hits off of him, an infield hit that he scalded. It just took Billy Spires apart. There's a high foul down the 3rd base side, not playable. Spires is hustling after everything. What about that leg double Spires had?
That was exciting, wasn't it? Taking advantage of Glanville going away from second base, but the Astros are in the spirit. You know, this could be the largest crowd ever. Got to watch a game in here, and they're all pumped.
Here's the 1-1, swinging, fly ball out into center. Hidalgo on the run. He will be there. Boy, he had a nice break on that ball.
Yeah, he gets as good a break as anybody around. The Astros are blessed to have 2 center fielders who can really go and get it. Not just Hidalgo, but also Carl Everett, who ran a little bit before tonight's game. And there's Larry talking to Matt Galati about the fact that it looked like he'd spent his swing a little bit on that pitch.
The other thing about following up on your thought, with Hidalgo back and healthy now, and you've got your pitching in good shape for this series, you don't need to rush Everett back into that lineup.
No, in fact, the reason Everett may have some leg miseries is he's played more this season than he probably played in all the last 2 combined. So it might be good to rest him here a little.
1 ball, 1 strike, pitch on the way, and it's in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The big unit has struck out 4. Fans are having some fun with their K cards here tonight. Got rolling. Oh, where was it? Tony framed it for him.
All right. You can fool the umpire, too, as well as the hitter.
Ready for a 2-2 to Rowland. High and away. 3-2. And you mentioned about getting up to that window for tickets when the big unit pitches. Well, what about the rest of this weekend and next weekend with the Cubs in that Cardinal series is really... There's a strike. He backdoored him, and Roland thought he had a walk. That was a pitch that Johnson really had a lot of success with Sunday in Pittsburgh, Bill.
Well, you can't give up on his slider because it breaks so much. And remember earlier we talked about the wide strike zone that Bruce Dreckman has. And here it is. Now you can see from upstairs that caught the outside part of the plate. That was a beautiful pitch, well executed.
Yep. Backdoor slider, and now it's 2 away. Strike called to Kevin Jordan, playing first base for them tonight. What about those Cardinals? They're jumping all over the Cubs. Another strike. Now, if he establishes that and then starts throwing that hard slider down and in, boy, he just got enough to stay alive. And he had one of the nastiest down and in sliders last Sunday I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he has a tough one. Tony took another one off the hand this time. He's taking a beating here tonight. But he's just kind of like a left-handed J.R. Richard.
Alou back, and he'll be there. Side retired. 1, 2, 3 innings for Randy Johnson. We played into the middle of the fourth on Fox Sports Southwest. Astros on top 4-2-0. Stretch is stretching, and he's got a 4-0 lead. Okay, Astro fans, here's your chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Astros home game. Compliments of the associates. Call 1-888-A-LOAN for you. Then the numbers 1 for your chance to win, and you can call right now. And right now, Biggio batting for the 3rd time already in this game when we're only in the 4th inning. He's 0 for 2. Welch working. And that's high a ball. Last time out, the Giants absolutely tattooed Mike Welch. Back-to-back-to-back homers, and he's given one up tonight to Bagwell.
Well, the Giants got him in the 3rd inning like the Astros did. He's been in the bullpen for most of his career, or all of his career, basically.
Well, thing got him in trouble tonight. The walks and then starting to pitch behind everybody. 1-1. Down and out. 2-1 to Biggio. I kidded Biggio last night when I introduced Bidge with his lovely bride Patty at the Wives Gala. Here is the 2-1. I said, folks, a special announcement as I introduce the Biggios. His streak is still intact. This is the 9th Wives Gala, and he's been to every one of them. And a strike is in there, 3-2.
That's hard to say nowadays in free agency if a player stays with the same team that long.
Ready for a payoff to Biggio. He's bounced to the mound, and he's flied to center. Welch delivers. And he walked him. That's 4 walks.
Well, you really have to feel happy for guys like Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell, who have been with this organization in the tough times. They got a little taste of it in the first round of the playoffs against Atlanta. They wanted more, and they felt like Drayton really stepped up for them when he brought them Randy Johnson. They were so excited and still bubbling with enthusiasm tonight as I talked to them before the game. They feel like it's now or never the next few years, and this is the time to get it done.
And they're hoping that they're on that next step on the stepladder. Finished 3rd, rather 2nd 3 years in a row with Collins. Last year winning the division with Durker. Tried to backdoor him with a breaking ball. It stayed away. Spires singled in the 1st, stole the base. 3rd inning, a hustling double. So Spires up here 2 for 2. And this is only the 2nd game he's played against the Phillies this year. And he's 5 for 6 against them.
They might try another book on him.
The way he's playing right now, they may not have a book. Boy, he is. You talk about Bagwell and Biggio being up. He's sky high. They're starting their bullpen. That's a strike to Spires. Bell is on deck. Jose Lima, who was honored tonight. What a nice round of applause Lima got for getting Player of the Week when he was presented his trophy.
Well, he's very popular with the fans, a very outgoing guy, and they love to watch him play. He loves to play the game of baseball, and he really loves it here, too. He's got an opportunity to play, and he's come through.
Ready for a 1-1. Line drive, fair. It's kicking down by our bullpen, which means it's in play. Now the umpire's going to go down and take a look. Now in this ballpark, you have to go in and get that ball.
No, but we saw last week, remember the old bag trick? Remember? Last week, the Astros hit one down into the opposing bullpen. It went behind an equipment. Eric Gregg told him it was only a ground rule double. The ball got in the bag, or maybe there's a fan holding it, so
that's what did it.
It may have kicked up into the stands. Boy, here's Spires getting a big old fat pitch to hit.
Boy, that kicked up chalk, Bill Worrell.
Yeah, now let's see what it does. The pitchers are trying to get out of the way because they know it's a live ball. And it looks like it kicked off that chair and a fan caught it. That's what happened. That's too bad.
2 runners in scoring position, nobody out for Bell. He's walked twice. He's got a chance to fatten the cat right here. In there for a strike from Mike Welch. This is a spot where Mike Welch might be pitching to stay in this game. They've started a right-hander in the left field bullpen. Biggio third, Spires second. Spires 3 for 3. Single and a pair of doubles. 0-1 to Bell. Breaking ball down, took something off of that pitch. 1-1.
That's Ken Ryan they've got warming up in the bullpen.
Another right-hander.
Tyler Green getting hurt again has really messed up their pitching.
Ready for a 1-1. Shot to second. It'll get a run home, and that'll push the score 5-0. That ball almost hit umpire-in-chief Frank Pulley. That ball was blistered right by him, and Bell gets an RBI.
And more importantly, he hit it to the right side. He's good about that. That also advances Spires to third base. That's a great job of hitting. You know, he's the best situational hitter on the team. Bell leads in sacrifice flies. He also leads in moving runners over.
Bagwell with a runner at third, 1 out, and the infield up tight. Here's the pitch to him. Whoa, look out, that's a low bridge.
I don't blame him. I know he couldn't hit it up there. Because this is what he did last time he was up.
And the last time when he hit it, it was gone when it left the trademark. Ready for a 1-0. Bouncer short. Throw coming toward the plate, and it is safe. What a slide by Spires. Spires came on the screen side and got in there with a beautiful slide, and it's 6-0.
Well, the Astros had Spires going as the ball was hit. Now, Relaford, the key here, Relaford has to go to his right to make the play. Now watch Spires go by the catcher right there and then tag the plate. Is that great baseball or what? He goes around the tag. And because Relaford had to go a couple of steps to his right, he couldn't get the ball to Estalella in time. Good job.
It's a little easy for me to... Early is the word I wanted to say. Easy is not the word I wanted to say. Early is. There's a high fly ball to left. It's very high and gone.
Oh, man, what a home run.
It was hit so high, I didn't think it'd carry. Here comes Babalu.
Boy, I'm with you, Milo. I kept waiting for Jeffries to pound the mitt and make the catch. He kept looking up. He kept looking up. Watch how high this ball is hit. My goodness. There it is. He thinks he's going to have room. And now all of a sudden, he looks up and it's in the stands. What a huge home run. They're going to make a pitching change. We'll take a break so you can catch your breath. Presented by the authority of the Houston Astros and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Houston Astros. Well, that's it for Mike Welch. He goes 3 1/3 innings. 87 pitches thrown. Some of them were hit a long way.
Big rip by Hidalgo. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
Milo, here's another number 51. Doesn't throw quite as hard as Houston's number 51. This is Ken Ryan. And he's back in there now. He had ligament reconstruction surgery on his right elbow in '97. So he's coming back from that. And he's rehabbed in Clearwater and in Scranton.
Right now, he probably wishes he was in either one of those cities. And a strike to Doggy. Eusebio's due up next. This Astro team can explode on you. They're number 1 in the league in runs scored. They're number 1 in on-base percentage. 2nd in batting average. And they're showing the Phillies why. Breaking ball. Bounced it up there to make it 1-2. Now I can go back after Alou gives me a chance to catch my breath. I was going to say it wasn't going to be easy when I have to in the 8th or 9th get together with Jimmy D to pick our star of the game. There's going to be a cluster of them.
Boy, you're right about that. Take a pick.
The Iceman always does. That's a strikeout on Doggy. First out, 2nd out of the inning. I'm sorry.
Crowd is still buzzing. There's the dynamic duo right there, Alou and Bagwell. Randy Johnson's got to be sitting over there thinking, man, if I get this kind of support all year, I can still win 20.
Get him enough starts.
I know.
Too tight on Tony. 2 outs. 4 runs are in. The Astros have rolled a pair of 4s here. 4 in the 3rd. 4 in the 4th. Leading 8-0. And the Cardinals are laying on the Cubs 11-3 in the 3rd. Smashed on the ground to short. Relaford will pick it. Throw out Tony. Side retired. But the Astros, 2nd inning in a row, put up some runs. And the big unit will head to the hill. And on Fox Sports Southwest, the big guy has an 8-0 lead. As we come back with the big unit pitching here and leading 8-0. And he's working on Mark Lewis. Lewis struck out swinging in the 2nd. Well, it sounded high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fouled out of play.
Oh, Walter Johnson story, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Some lady got a souvenir. She was excited.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's see if Getty measured for number 6. Almost fouled it back. American League, Yankees played a doubleheader. They're halfway through the 2nd game. They beat Kansas City 8-2 in the opener, and Cone won his 16th. Strawberry hit his 21st. New York leading 3-1, bottom of the 5th in the 2nd game. That just missed, drawing some oohs and ahs. This crowd's hard to please on balls and strikes. 2-2 to Lewis. Yeah, ring him up.
Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your South Texas Chevy dealers. Choose from the best lineup of cars and trucks at your Texas Chevy dealer now. By Lowe's, when it comes to home improvement, Lowe's knows. And by Chevron. To reduce knocking, try Chevron Supreme with a Techron additive. Chevron, simply smarter.
Destalea is 0 for 1. He bounced to 2nd in the 2nd. The big unit with 6 Ks now. And a strike call. Seattle's in front of Detroit in their second game, 6-0, after winning the opener 6-3. Little high. Cleveland's out in front of Tampa Bay, 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th. Oakland 5, Toronto 1. Here's a strike. The White Sox were postponed at home. There's a foul ball. White Sox were to have played the Angels tonight, and with the season where it is, they'll probably have to make that up tomorrow. Minnesota leads Baltimore 5-4. Bouncer third, fires right there. He's everywhere. 2 away. Playing right on that line, too. So he was in perfect position to make the play. Texas at home. They got 3 in the first. They're leading Boston 3-0. Cincinnati with Harnish. 5-0 over Milwaukee and Cincy. Taubensee and Sanders help the Reds cause, hitting long balls, and there's a strike call to Sepsic. Sepsic had a gap double in left center to lead off the third, but Randy Johnson left him right there. Ran it in. Boy, that slider and that fastball, when he pounds you inside and then shows you that backdoor breaking ball, if he starts mixing in that nasty slider down and in like he got those strikeouts in Pittsburgh, he'll be something to watch here, and that's a ball bouncing away. Tony thought he swung at it. He did. Tony will flip it to Bagwell, and the side has been retired. Heads up by Tony Eusebio, immediately asking for that.
Yeah, he asked for it, and he looked down at Ed Rapuano, and he got the outside, and he carried it through, and they just keep putting up the K's now. That's 7 for the big unit. You're watching Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Southwest, your region of Fox Sports Net. Astros lead at 8-0 over the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Here is tonight's Lowe's trivia question. Who got the first hit off Walter Johnson, the big train? Lowe's knows the answer. Do you? You know that?
Well, that's rough.
Rough, huh?
You know what's rough in Kansas, don't you? No balls, 1 strike. Arizona's leading Montreal 3-1, bottom of the 6th at Olympic. Off speed, and Goody gives it a ride to left center where it'll be caught on a warning tack by Jeffries. A guy, after he came up gimpy in that first inning, I never thought he'd stay in the game, Bill.
Well, he's had plenty of runs to loosen it up. He's been back against the wall several times. Well, our trivia question. Well, Milo guessed Ty Cobb, bunt single on August the 2nd, 1907.
Rougher than a Cobb.
Did you see that game?
I came the next week.
Oh, okay.
Listen to this crowd.
Oh, yeah, they love it, don't they? Randy.
Whoa! You know, it may sound hard to believe, but he is absolutely in awe of the treatment he's getting here. Because when you're on a club with the people he was on with in Seattle, he said, those guys that play every day, I pitched every 5. But the center fielder and the shortstop got a lot of the space. He said, I cannot believe this reaction. Well, if he didn't believe it before the game, what do you think when he went down to warm up? That's all right, big guy. We need your arm. To heck with your bat.
And that
gets a standing O.
That may a little bit of message to Mr. Ryan. Don't throw me anything inside again, as he gingerly tossed his bat out towards the mound. You don't think he would deliver another message, do you?
Well, if I was as Ryan, I wouldn't be as concerned as I would be for Relaford, who leads off the next inning.
Because Ryan probably, I don't know, he may not pinch hit for him.
Biggio 0 for 2, walked in the fourth, scored run number 5. The Cardinals are rolling it up on the Cubs. It's now 12-3 in the third at Busch. No, the big redhead has not hit one.
Hit a single to get it started.
Well, first of all, a 2-run error off his bat, and then a 2-run single, all in the same inning when they scored 11 times. They dropped a bomb on Traxel. Second baseman going to have to hurry. Save! Biggio busting his tail. Infield hit. 6-game hitting streak, Biggio. Do you just think for a little bit that Randy Johnson likes what he sees of the other 24 guys in this club?
Well, you got to think we're in a 0-0 tie the way he busted it down the line. But that's the way he always plays. And, you know, some people intimated over the last couple of days that the Astros might have trouble bonding together as a team because Randy Johnson may steal most of the attention. Hey, Biggio and Bagwell won't hear any of that. All they're into is winning. They don't care who gets the attention.
8-0 Houston. Bill Spires, single, double, and has scored 2 of the 8 runs. Biggio with a 2-out infield hit. Spires facing Ryan. Down low a ball. The right ballpark, but it's a different Ryan. And this is about the most excitement we've had since the other Ryan came for that exhibition game. Remember that?
You're right.
Woo. And then the Braves game this year. Whoa! Robbed of his 4th straight hit on a leap by Scott Rowland, and he can do that to you. He's a heck of a young third baseman. And to time it perfectly. 1 hit, 1 left. We played 5. Astros lead 8-0. Getting ready to go here into the 6th inning in the Dome in front of a sellout crowd. And the big unit fires a strike to Relaford. He pops up to Biggio in the 3rd inning. They're going to go to their bench. There's a high foul way down the right side. They've got a lefty throwing in their pen and a second-generation outfielder, Ruben Amaro Jr. Johnson working with an 8-run lead. Fouled off out of play. 2 strikes. Yorkis Perez, the lefty, in their bullpen. A ball and 2 strikes. They had a hit in the first. It was an erased and a strike him out, throw him out double play. Smash. That's good. He didn't do his 360 that time.
Didn't have time.
But he still threw him out.
Yes, he did. Great job of getting to that one.
Ruben Amaro played his way onto this club. He was a spring training non-roster invitee. Switch hitter. Hitting only 176. Off the bench. He's done some pretty good work off the bench despite that 176 overall average. He's 9 for 36. High foul souvenir time. Down over to the left of Lefty's Pub.
Got to step in here against Johnson. You know, a lot of people were asking him what he thought, his impressions of the Astrodome. He's never pitched in here. When they were talking to Randy, he said, well, I pitched in a dome most of my career. So, and that was a hitter's dome. The King Dome.
Well, and don't forget his first dome was
Montreal
Olympic.
And he says, I hear this is a pitcher's park. I think I'll like it. I think he does. He's faced one over the minimum.
Can't throw him out from back there. That's a high chopper to the hole. And it's an infield hit for Ruben Amaro Jr. That's only their third hit. So Amaro is on, and you go up to the top with Glanville. He is struck out swinging, and he's flied to left. Doug Glanville has really, there's a tapper, and let it roll over, yes, because Glanville can fly. Getting Glanville from the Cubs, and he has really helped them. He's their leading hitter.
Well, the Cubs traded Brian McRae last year, and they were going to put Glanville in center field. That opened up a position for him, and then, boom, just like that, they traded him to the Phillies for Mickey Morandini. And he has really blossomed in Philadelphia.
Well, and the Cubs are happy with that deal because Morandini has really had a nice year for them.
Yes, he has.
That'll be Goody, and you can get it done. 6 unassisted, only 3. Second double play of the night for Houston, and their 102nd of the year. 6U3. Middle of the 6th inning. Fox Sports Southwest 8-0. Good guys.
Here's tonight's 6th inning game summary, brought to you by Gatorade. The Phillies with 3 hits. They've been scattered and still facing one over the minimum for Randy Johnson. The Astros have really gone to bat since the 3rd inning. Bagwell and Lou with home runs, and Randy Johnson with 7 strikeouts. It's 19 strikeouts now in 2 games for the Astros. 1+. Ruben Amaro stays in. He'll play center field in place of Doug Glanville.
He's in right. Getting Amaro in right.
Center field, I believe.
Oh, that's different. I've seen him play a lot. I never saw him go to center field before.
Well, I guess they wanted to make the double switch with Glanville coming out.
But I thought maybe put him in right and put Sepsic in center if you're going to take Glanville out. But Amaro is in center. The batter is Bell, down and out, a ball. Bell tonight, couple of walks, a ground out. He scored run number 2. He was on when Bagwell unloaded in the 3rd. Then a ground out, got run number 5 home in the 4th inning. This is Yorkis Perez, the 3rd pitcher, and a good pitch on the knees. Derek Bell, your leading hitter at .326. High chop. Rollins' great arm, and he gets the job done. They compare him to Mike Schmidt, and boy, they're not far off.
They really aren't. You see that job by Roland. He had to go back behind the base, and Bell can pick him up and lay him down. It had a high hop in it. Now watch this gun with the aid of the AstroTurf.
2 good plays in a row by Scott Rowland. That leaping catch of a line drive off Spires to retire the side of the 5th, and then that opener in the 6th against Bell. Here's Bagwell, driven in 4 runs here tonight. Boy, you really got to start thinking about 100 RBIs for him now. He's up to 76. High foul up to the right. A paper airplane comes out of the stands and floats between home plate and the mound. Not a very wise move, especially with your own guy in the batter's box. It had to distract him a little bit. Went right in front of him. 2 balls and a strike to Bagwell. Alou is due up next. Bagwell hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd. It was his 24th. Alou hit a 2-run dinger in the 4th. It was his 29th. And he's really pushing 100 now in RBIs. His 97. Good pitch. Came right in on the knees. And it's 2-2 to Bagwell. Jose Lima pitches tomorrow night. Sunday afternoon, it's Shane Reynolds. 2-2. There's a drive down toward lefty's pub, and bang, is out of here.
Well, I hope there wasn't anybody not paying attention in lefties, or they just got something in their beverage. Because that ball got out to lefty's pub in a hurry.
The guy that got that ball got a lot of suds on it.
Man, you don't, Bagwell swings hard at it sometimes, but he really yanked this pitch. And look how quick it gets out there. Boom.
Fourteenth multi-home run game for Bagwell. It's the 3rd time he's done it this year. Boy, if you get him moving, look out.
Yeah. He's really swinging at it well now. And if you can go all the way back, remember when he struck out in the 1st inning and the youngster Welch pitched him about as well as you can pitch him, but that was it. Perez now starting to miss. This is a guy that's been around. There you see Jeff Bagwell.
Couple of the B's right there. And this guy is too now, you know. Babalu. Now, if we could just think of a way to stretch that name out a little bit as he walks, we could take credit for his home runs tomorrow at the Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame Scholarship. We've got Biggio and a Baguali. Maybe we could get a Babalu.
Well, Wainers and the Astros want you to enjoy regular hot dogs at half price when the Brewers open a 4-game series. Monday night, Astros and Brewers at 7:05. Call 713-6-ASTROS for tickets.
Strike to doggies. Fly to center. Struck out looking and struck out swinging on a foul tip. 9-0 Houston.
Well, you've given this crowd everything and then some. Randy Johnson going out, pitching a 3-hitter so far. The Astros exploding for a lot of offense.
Astros now with 116 homers in their 115th game. They get back to a home run a game. There's a smash to 3rd. And around the horn she goes. It's a double play. 5-4-3. Roland Lewis to Jordan. It's their first. And it's their 92nd of the year. Well, Bill Worrell, have you had some fun yet?
Oh, boy, this is fun.
All right. When do I see you again?
Sunday.
Sunday, eh? I'll be looking forward to it. Bill Brown's coming over to make it a double bill. The big unit is headed to the hill, and the Astros are on top 9-0.
Jeffries grounds to Spires, and Bagwell stays on the bag. Great play. Billy Spires had to rush that slowly hit ground ball, and he threw high, and Bagwell was able to come back with it. Well, here is tonight's Discover Card Payback Playback, and it involves the bat of Jeff Bagwell. This broke it open early in the game. A 3-run homer in the 3rd inning by Bagwell, and then he came right back with a solo shot in the last inning off Yorkis Perez, right into lefty's pub. A couple of homers for Bagwell. So Randy Johnson now goes to work on Scott Rowland. And Bill Brown is settled in to take us the rest of the way.
Thanks, Bill. Alex Arias is stepping in to pinch hit for Scott Rowland here in a 9-0 ball game. He's hitting .276 with 1 homer. There's ball 2 to him. The attendance is 52,071. That is the largest for a regular season Astros game in club history. More than 53,000 for that playoff game against Atlanta. And earlier this season here for the regular season game on a Saturday night against Atlanta, 51,500 and some. So this is the largest for a regular season game. 3-1 to Arias.
Think they'll be back?
Yep, they'll be back. They like what they're seeing tonight, don't they?
Yeah.
They like things big in the state of Texas, like 9-0 leads and 6-10 left-handers who strike out a lot of people. Welcome to town, Randy. H-Town it is. And they like the looks of him in that new uniform. Slider in the dirt, ball 4. That's his first walk of the night.
You know, that goes unnoticed a lot, doesn't it? Because in that win over Pittsburgh, he gave up only 1 walk, Bill. A lot of people think of hard throwers as walking a lot of hitters, but he's a good pitcher. He pitches to spots and doesn't walk a lot of batters.
His control has really improved since he first came up. He's thrown only 82 pitches, and he's 1 out into the 7th inning, facing Kevin Jordan. Eusebio might have been crossed up there. He seemed very surprised by that pitch, but he stopped it for ball 1. Randy Johnson's career, he has 1,085 walks, 2,225 strikeouts. Gets in on the hands of Jordan. That'll sting for a while. I'll say 1 ball, 1 strike. 1,901 innings in Randy Johnson's career. Two balls and a strike. He had walked 60 in 160 innings for Seattle this season. So even though he was inconsistent earlier this year, we've seen good control from him. That goes back out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Getting a souvenir tonight is something special.
Oh, yes. Only 2 left-handers in Astros history have struck out more than 12 in a game. The record of 15 was set by Mike Cuellar back in 1966 against St. Louis. Biggio looks out to Richard Hidalgo, who comes in center. 2 outs. Arias staying at first for Mark Lewis. Danny LeMaster had 13 strikeouts all the way back in 1969 at Pittsburgh. Randy Johnson has spanned 10 or more 14 times this year, and he has 7 tonight. He might be pulled early from this game with a big 9-0 lead. Lewis to right field. Bell waiting. Usually Larry Dierker doesn't want to interrupt the shutout bid, though, by a pitcher. And it's no runs in the 7th inning and a man left. And a big 9-0 lead for the Astros as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Let's take a look at what's coming your way tonight on Fox Sports News following our game. For that, we take you to the Fox Network Center.
9-0 Astros over the Phillies, bottom of the 7th inning, and here are tonight's South Texas Chevy Dealer League leaders. Now, these are the number of innings when a team scores 5 runs or more, and the Astros have done that on 19 occasions this season, and they've just about reached that tonight, Bill, on a couple of times.
Well, they've had 2 4-run innings, and they have had 22 of those this year. An explosive club. Ricky Bottalico comes in. He's 1-2 with 3 saves and a 5.18 ERA. He had elbow surgery earlier this season, and he will face Tony Eusebio after Yorkis Perez went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, 1 run with 1 walk and no strikeouts. Frank Pulley's coming in. They're throwing some paper airplanes on the field in the outfield. And an announcement has been made about fans throwing things on the field.
Well, there's all kind of stuff out in the outfield, and right now it looks like Greg Jeffries is trying to police it.
Astros will send a bat boy out to help out a little bit. And some of the grounds crew members go out there as well. Of course, all this does is delay the game, make Randy Johnson slow down a little bit. He's been in a nice tempo tonight. So it could wind up actually hurting the home team.
If you like to come out to the ballpark, watch a quick game, and get home, this is the guy for you. I mean, he gets that ball, he throws it right to the plate, gets it back, throws it again. I want to remind you, our next Fox Sports Southwest telecast will be Sunday afternoon at 1:30. The Astros will be playing these Phillies. The next road trip begins August 17th in Philadelphia, and Channel 51, is that the big unit station? 51 will bring you the games on Monday and Tuesday nights. We'll have a full schedule for you next week, too. We'll have 3 of the 4 Milwaukee games, and we'll cover 2 of the 3 Chicago Cubs games here on Fox Sports Southwest. Randy, that's what he does, staying warm in that dugout. That Thursday game, by the way, next week is a Fox Net game. So all of the games will be on next week when Milwaukee and Chicago come in.
Randy Johnson trying to keep loose, stretching out a little bit. Ricky Vitalico has had a delay before throwing his first pitch. His last appearance came 4 days ago against the Giants. He gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs in 1 inning in that game. Eusebio into the right field corner, and that's a foul ball for Setzer.
The other half of the Twin Towers for the Astros is down in the bullpen, starting to warm up now.
Scott Ellerton apparently just getting in some work on this night after the day off yesterday. The Astros players were actually here last night on the field for the annual Wives Gala, raising a lot of money for charity. Very good cause. Vitalico trying to get that closer spot back. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's not been used in closing situations since he came back from the injury. He had only 7 outings prior to surgery this year. 10 rehab outings in the minors. Slider misses, and it goes to 2-1 for Ricky Vitalico, who has become quite a bulldog on the mound. Last year he had 34 saves and 41 opportunities for the Phils. He's a former catcher. New Britain, Connecticut. 3 balls and a strike. Mark Leiter has done so well at closing that it's going to be tough to move him out of there, it appears, although Leiter is much older than Vitalico.
Vitalico, a former catcher. Mike Welch, the starting pitcher tonight, a former third baseman. So, you know, you don't always pitch from the get-go when you start in baseball.
Very tough on a reliever to go out during the season with surgery and try to get back and be effective again, but he does have that opportunity here in the final 2 months to do that, build up arm strength. And this is just an opportunity for him to get in some work in a 9-0 ball game. But if you're talking about building arm strength, that probably is welcome for Ricky Vitalico. He's expressed some disappointment at not being used in tight situations, though.
Yeah, but they're going to watch out. They don't want to hurt this guy. They're watching the velocity, and under pressure, you may try to throw the ball a little harder. That's what they probably want to avoid with it. Also, they say his control hasn't been real sharp, and sometimes that's to be expected after surgery when you're a power pitcher.
Yes, it is, Bill. He pitched 24 1/3 innings for Terry Francona, walking 13 and fanning 13 coming into this outing. Ricky Gutierrez lined a double to drive in a run in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Randy Johnson's on deck.
Good breaking pitch.
Yes, it is. It's a little bit bigger breaking ball than we've seen from Vitalico in the past. Cincinnati is blowing out Milwaukee 17-0 after 7.
Well, they had a 12-run 6th inning, and the Cardinals had an 11-run 1st inning.
Wild night in the National League. No balls for 2 strikes. 14-3. St. Louis has the lead over the Cubs. They're only in the bottom of the 5th inning.
They don't have to have a pennant race for that to be a hard-fought series. Those 2 old rivals right there.
They really are. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Whether it's Sosa and McGuire in a home run race or just any ordinary reason for Cubs and Cardinals fans to get together, they seem to have a nice rivalry, don't they?
They do.
Gutierrez grounds, and Jordan will go to Relaford. Then it goes back to Batalico for a nice double play. 3-6-1. That's their second double play in as many innings.
Tell you what, that's the hardest double play to make. For obvious reasons, you got the first baseman having to throw to the shortstop, who then the pitcher has to come back over and cover first, and they did that very well.
Batalico faces Randy Johnson, who gets another ovation. He's 0 for 3 in this game with 2 strikeouts. That's strike 1 to Randy. He has a shutout going. The Astros have pitched 6 of those this year. Oh, and 2 to Randy.
I don't think you can throw him a high fastball because just a pitcher can't throw it that high, can he?
No. He makes contact back to Batalico. He tosses him out. No runs, no hits, and nobody stranded for Houston. And after 7, it's 9-0 Astros.
Astros leading at 9-0 in the top of the 8th inning. Here is tonight's Associates Trivia question. Who was the first president of the United States to see a big league baseball game?
Half, maybe. Randy Johnson goes to the 8th inning, leading 9-0. Bobby Estelle is the batter. He's 0 for 2. There's strike 1. It was Taft who began the 7th inning stretch. I think you're right. He didn't mean to, but he weighed about 300 pounds, and he got up to stretch in the middle of the 7th inning, and everybody else did. So that became a tradition in baseball. No balls and 2 strikes. Stepsick on deck. Relaford due up 3rd in the inning. Randy Johnson, who's surrendered only 3 hits and 1 walk. Estelea is strikeout victim number 8.
He didn't mess around with him either, did he?
No.
Boom, boom, boom. And we haven't had these many Ks in a long time in the Dome. Here he comes. First one outside, tailing away. Outside, tailing away. And this one's just gas.
Kevin Stepsick looks at ball 1. He doubled in the 3rd inning. That was a leadoff double. Looked pretty promising for the Phillies. It was a 0-0 game. They could never advance him from second base. With a late swing, just tipped it.
You know, Bill, when J.R. Richard pitched, he had a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, but his slider was clocked at 92 to 93 miles per hour. And, of course, he was 6'10".
Doggo, 2 outs.
The difference here, I think, is that Johnson uses his slider more as a changeup. It's around 84 to 85 miles per hour, and he can change speeds. All right, here's the answer to our trivia question.
How about that? Benjamin Harris.
I think that should be Harrison. There wasn't a Harris as a president.
You're right.
And tonight's ticket giveaway winner is Diane Latham from Spring, Texas. Fans, watch for your chance to win Astros tickets, compliments of the Associates. I thought we'd invented a new president there.
Well, we do that every now and then. We are breaking new ground here on Fox Sports Southwest. We're inventing presidents.
Well, you know, he may have been.
Well, at least it might cause some folks to look through the history books. That can't be all bad. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Desi Relaford, who's 0 for 2 in this game. Every now and then we forget a president or 2, Bill, so it's good to have these quizzes.
It happens.
Fans are ready for strikeout number 9 here in the 8th inning. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch count relatively low for a high strikeout game.
It really is. Just over 90 pitches thrown now, and almost 3-1 strikes over ball.
Gary Spradlin's in the Phillies bullpen. Base hit past the diving Spires into the corner in left field. Relaford goes into second base with a bullet of a double. Well, he was down to a 2-2 count, and then he turned on one for his 19th two-bagger of the year. Second double of the night for the Phillies, and they have 2 out life with Ruben Amaro Jr. coming in.
Now, one thing I like about Randy Johnson, he won't mess around. He's got a 9-0 lead. There's no sense going deep into counts. He doesn't like to do that. He just came right after him and said, here it is, hit it if you can.
Amaro reached on an infield hit, a pinch hit. There's ball 1 to him. Two balls and no strikes to Ruben Amaro Jr. His father used to play for this club, and he was a bat boy. Punches that one foul, and it's 2-1.
Going back again to what Randy throws, the fastball, and he can get up. He'll throw it between 94 and 98. But he throws that slider as a changeup, and he will backdoor it, as we've seen him do several times, or he'll throw it down and into a right-hander. So he can throw that slider several different ways.
Gutierrez ends the top of the 8th inning. No runs a hit, a runner stranded at second. In the middle of the 8th, it's still a shutout for Randy Johnson, and a 9-0 Houston lead. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, Discover Card, Hoover, The Associates, Southwestern Bell, and by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Jerry Spradlin fits right into the tall pitcher theme of the evening. The Astros lead at 9-0 as Spradlin, with 52,071, the largest regular season home crowd in Astros history, watching. Spradlin comes in for the 8th inning with the top of the order to face him. He's 3-4 with a 3.55 ERA and 1 save. Bill?
Well, Spradlin's a big old tall drink of water. He's signed by the Phillies after he was released by the Reds in the offseason. Spent parts of 3 seasons with the Reds working out of the bullpen. League's hitting only .211 against him. This guy can throw a lot of innings for you, too.
There's strike 1 to Biggio, who's been on twice. He's walked and reached on an infield hit. He's 1 for 3. Spradlin really poses problems for a right-handed batter like Biggio. All the elbows and legs coming at him. Right-hander's hitting .197 against him. 1-1. He's pitched well in his career against Houston, 1-0 with a 2.76 ERA. He worked 2 days ago against San Diego. And he's just wild enough to put that fear into a right-handed batter, Bill.
Yeah, you don't dig in. I don't know if Craig would want to take one off the arm against this guy or not. Not with a 9-0 lead.
Wouldn't be a good time. Spires and Bell do up next. Biggio fouls it. It's 2-2 to Craig. Biggio second only to Barry Bonds in runs scored in the decade of the 90s. He scored 146 last year to lead the league. Ball 3. It's a full count to Biggio. Spradlin's being clocked at 96 and 97 on his fastball.
He's getting in the spirit of things.
He really dials it up there with all that motion coming at the hitter. Biggio punches one. Shallow right field. Mark Lewis. 1 out.
All right, the first 10,000 kids 14 and under will receive a figurine of one of baseball's biggest stars, including Jeff Bagwell, Ken Griffey Jr., and Roger Clemens. So call 713-6-ASTROS for tickets. That's Sunday when the Astros play the Phillies at 1:35. All-star headliners from Kroger.
Spradlin has retired the first man here in the 8th inning. Now Bill Spires. What a hot night he's had. 3 hits and a line drive to third. 2 of those hits doubles, and he scored 2 runs. There's strike one to Spires with Derek Bell on deck. The Astros have fined 34 and 18 at home this season. Cubbies are getting slaughtered at St. Louis, 14-3 in the sixth. Cardinals batting in the bottom half of the sixth inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. They'll be here next weekend. The Astros trying to pull further away from Chicago. They had a 5-game lead over the Cubs at the All-Star break.
Only problem for the Cardinals, they never had any pitching this year. They never could get into the race. Makes you wonder, too, if should they break up that team, or should they just go after some pitching for next year?
Good question. Breaking ball. Spires spins around, and Charlie Williams says it was strike 2. Well, the word is they may try to make a concerted effort to re-sign Todd Stottlemyre as a free agent this fall.
Well, the Rangers are talking about re-signing him, too.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You hear things through the rumor mill. You perhaps have heard that Randy Johnson prefers the American League, that Todd Stottlemyre prefers the National League. That may not hold up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. First of all, it may be true, and secondly, they might change their mind.
Well, some people said that about Mark McGwire last year, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And he ended up liking St. Louis so much, he said, hey, I'll stay here for less money.
Very good example, Bill.
I know about 52,000 other people here might like to see him stay, too.
Lewis gets Spires. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Astros trying to go 3-1 against the Phillies for the season series, with tomorrow night's game matching Jose Lima and Carlton Lower. Lower, a good prospect. He's 5-4. Lima's 10-6. Sunday, Shane Reynolds and Matt Beach. If the Phillies can continue to develop Lower and Beach, that's really going to help them here as they move toward the year 2000.
Boy, Matt ought to have a pass list Sunday with all of his old Cougar teammates probably asking for freebies.
Derek Bell has 2 walks, a run scored, and an RBI on the grounder. Ball 1 to Bell. Astros have been quite a team at home, hitting .290 as a ball club, averaging 5.6 runs per game. Bell to right field. Stepsic with the grab right in front of the big scoreboard wall to end the 8th inning. Randy Johnson goes for a shutout, 9-0 after 8. John Zuber's pinch hitting for Jerry Spradlin. The first pitch was strike 1. Randy Johnson goes for his first National League shutout. He's allowed only 4 hits. Zuber takes, and it's 1-1.
You think they drew numbers?
Those left-handed hitters drew numbers,
well,
that's for sure.
Still got Abreu and Bronya over there, and I guess they decided to let Zuber get on that bat.
Good inside heat, makes it 1-2. Zuber's hit 185 for 27 at bats, 1 homer, 4 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, he's 3 for 18. Randy Johnson trying to close out shutout number 7 for Houston. Fastball gets away, and you can see why not too many left-handed hitters are in the lineup when Randy Johnson's pitching.
Well, John Kruk was the best, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
In the All-Star game?
He was classic. Up the middle, and Zuber delivers a pinch single. Give him credit for that, and it's hit number 5 for the Phillies. He was able to hang in well enough after that tailing fastball up and in to shoot the ball into center.
Well, here's tonight's Hoover pickup of the game. And remember this play when Scott Rowland went behind third base and made that terrific throw to first to get Derek Bell.
Greg Jeffries looks at ball 1. Jeffries got the first hit. That was with 1 out in the first inning, an infield hit. He's 1 for 3. Nobody has made it to third for Philadelphia. 1 ball and 1 strike. John Vukovic has had a lonely night. No company at third base. Just a few signs given. Oh, what a slider. And it's 1-2.
There wasn't any back door to that. That was a trap door. That bottom just fell out.
The big unit has 19 career shutouts, none in the National League, 2 in his last 5 games. Gutierrez, Biggio, and Bagwell turn 2. Third double play of the night for the Astros. Their 103rd of the year.
Seems like every time they get a base runner, Bill, he's able to squash it with a double play. All right, here's Gutierrez, and of course Biggio knows with Jeffries running, he had plenty of time to make the throw. All right, this crowd now should get pretty excited about this.
Alex Arias, the batter, he walked in the 7th. Fly ball center, Hidalgo in, and there's a shutout. Randy Johnson, in only his 2nd start as an Astro, pitches his first National League shutout, the 20th of his career. And what a way to pitch his first game as a Houston Astro here at home. The Astros clamped down the Phillies to win the opener of this homestand 9-0. A 5-hitter for Randy Johnson and a tremendous welcome for the big unit. 52,071. A record crowd for a regular season game saluting Randy Johnson. He had 8 Ks. The Cards were active, but also the 3 double plays figuring in, Bill.
Yeah, he was able to get whatever he wanted. The defense for Houston was sharp, or they were able to back him up when he needed a big defensive play, but he didn't need much here tonight. He had the Phillies eating out of his hands.
Houston wins at 9-0 for Milo Hamilton and Bill Worrell. Bill Brown saying so long on a special night from the Astrodome. Randy Johnson tipped his cap. The final score was 9-0. The Astros beat the Phillies. Be sure to join us again Sunday at 1:30 when Shane Reynolds and the Astros takes on lefty Matt Beach and the Phillies. 1:30 on Sunday. Stay right here. Fox Sports News Prime Time is coming up next. You've been watching Houston Astros baseball coverage on Fox Sports Southwest, your home of Fox Sports Net.